They're coming for Christmas.
Why wouldn't they? That's a great place to spend Christmas. Okay, here we are. Here's the first time you've seen your swing.
Oh, brother.
So let's just start by watching. This gives you an idea how far the club's coming back now. It looks pretty good. Now, interesting. Oh, I had to pick that one, didn't I?
Yeah, wait a minute. I had others that were nice.
I started in the back. Yes, you did.
I saw myself lurching at that.
I had the first two from here. No, both views are... I like to look at it from both views. Now, the feedback I want you to see is, now, in your thinking, when you're taking the club away from the ball, regardless of where the ball goes.
See, I thought I only took it to there.
Yeah. So, that's exactly the point, because to make that change that you've had, you've got to exaggerate how short you feel your swing is.
Yeah.
And what you'll see here is it's not as short as it feels.
God. No, it's not.
So it's actually really good. That's really a good spot as far as how long it is. Now, obviously, if we compare it now to your more traditional, comfortable, full swings when the ball's on the ground, as you said, we kind of revert back to our instincts and habits. So that's what this looks like.
Yeah. That'd be correct.
That's correct. So that's about probably what it feels like too, right? So in your mind, this result came from something where you felt like it was only about right here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think it's important.
At the most.
I think it's important for you to understand that that's how much exaggeration has to happen for a change to occur. So good news is I think you've adapted quite well. I know everything about why your ball's doing what it's doing. Now, if we talk about the consistency part, this is just more of the visual analyzation, okay? But, you know, what you've got to really kind of understand is some of the inconsistency of golf is kind of there with all of us.
Okay.
We're not machines, okay? So first thing I would say is sometimes you don't get down to the ball enough. You see how high that club's coming into the ball? So clearly, in this case, is a worst case scenario. You hit right on top of the ball.
I'm topping it.
Right. So first thing I would judge is, well, that arm kind of had a little bend to it. But equally, even before that, if I just look at, let's just look at the player and see how they start. Take another driver look here. If you look at the pure distance that we are from the ball, okay?
Too far?
No, not necessarily. But are we consistent? In other words, that's how tall you are to start with. I'll just put a little line here. So there's a little, okay? So if the player has some consistency with their, okay, well that looks pretty good right there. Consistency with their posture, let's say. Okay, so right now I would say you've done a great job there. You've stayed bent over. So in other words, you're not standing up and you're not farther away from the ball because of your posture. But now we've got a little dipsy doodle.
Right.
See, we're dipping a little bit.
Falling off the bar stool.
We're just kind of going down a little bit.
I'll say.
And then, now, if you had those arms nice and straight again,
I'd be up.
You would hit the ground way behind here.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, now, your head's probably going to go a little taller. Boom. Okay, so we're not quite as tall as what we started. So let's take that view and go over here on the front view of the swing. Because when it comes to those shots on the ground, we got to be really precise down there, because if it's on a tee, we get away with it a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, right.
So the margin for
You
error.
have a little buffer.
So when you take this swing now, and you're keeping those arms good and stiff.
That is amazing.
Now you got up, you're pretty tall there again. Now with the driver, you kind of stayed up there. Let's see what we got here. Now we kind of went down a little bit. Now watch, your arms are going to have to get your arms are going to have to shrink.
In order for me to hit that ball, right?
Yeah, and they shrunk too much there.
Too much, so you top it.
Correct. Now, if that would have stayed long, like it started, like we wanted to, that club would have probably hit the ground here.
Okay.
Because we got shorter with our posture. Okay. So that's probably a pretty good place to start for consistency.
Okay.
If you look at good players swinging, you'll see, that they're not perfect either. Okay. But let me just grab one here.
It looks like my hips are moving too. It's just like, it looks like I'm sliding.
Well, hip movement is really good. It's really essential.
Oh. Okay.
So the good thing is you've got some pretty good golf swing instincts. You watch how their arms, watch how her arms are going right back. See where they're long, just like they started.
Right.
Okay, so you go there,
got the
there,
bend.
there. So the radius of their swing has become consistent because they're really good players. And then there's the amateur
There's some
one.
similarity, aren't there? Kind of.
Well, you've got to. So here's your impact.
Right.
Here's your setup.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we got a little breakdown of the arms.
Right.
Now you got some great athletic instincts. Those hips are moving forward. Your hips are turning out of the way. Weight transfer is great. Dave, keep an eye on this.
Okay.
So you've got pretty good golf intuitiveness.
So there's hope.
Yeah. And you've done it with a minimum amount of information and instruction. So you've been really instinctual, haven't you?
Yes.
So you're kind of what we call a field player that just kind of has figured some things out, right?
Right.
So now when you get into instruction and you actually start learning about what's happening, that gets a little scary.
Yeah, it does.
Right? So your first foray into instruction involved you changing the length of your swing for consistency. Okay? And then, so we see the old instinctive backswing, right?
Right.
That's the new swing.
No, this is the old one. Look wherever my club head is.
Our club's way down here.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Right here.
Oh.
See, I'm all the way down there.
And
Whereas
then, and then the new one.
is up here, right?
Oh, yeah, I see. I'm sorry.
Okay. So,
That looks good there.
yeah. So the club's in a good spot here, so mission accomplished. Now, here's the only thing I'm going to tell you for recording purposes, and then I'm going to tell you this every day.
Okay.
And he knows this. He knows the sermon. Once change becomes the new habit, then it becomes more intuitive, and it becomes more. We start trusting it more, right? In the meantime, it's going to be trial and error. Okay. So this change happened, and when you hit a good shot, you're like, wow.
Right.
Okay. So then the next thought, the normal human reaction to that is, well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's just what I got to do every swing, right? Well, it doesn't work that way.
I know.
It doesn't work that way for the good players on TV, so why would it work that way for us?
I know.
So there's certain elusiveness to golf that has to be kind of understood mentally. And you have some things to say, all right, the fact that you were able to do that from that is really a good thing, but you, like you said, you felt like you stopped here.
I thought I was up here. I literally
You thought
I
it was back here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Swing matches. Yeah.
And then on the opposite, which is kind of interesting, I know you've had a good conversation about this. I'm trying to get him where you are,
I know.
Yeah.
right? So we need a hybrid of the two of you.
Right. That'd
But
be perfect.
he needs to
You
feel
see
that.
white gloves here at the back.
That's correct.
You know, and
So in both cases, we talk about exaggeration.
exaggeration. Right?
So the first thing I would say to you is to not, I can't get too technical with you. I don't want to do that with anyone, right? But we got to take our little priorities and say, all right, what's the first thing that's going to make a difference
Okay.
for her consistency? And that means first thing we got to do is measure and evaluate your poor shots. Right now, it looks
Right.
like your poor shots is you're hitting on top of the ball.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the first thing we got to go
Right,
after.
okay.
And say, I want you to have a clear understanding of why those shots occur.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, all right, we're going to build you this perfect model swing, I'd rather have you know why your ball does what it does.
Right. Okay. That's good.
Does that sound good?
So that I can prevent.
So this is the
that.
first time you've actually